finish at a League Cup in Valparaiso, Indiana. I played Drampa Garbodor. Shout out to my good friend Nick from the Luxury Club for giving me this list that I have just absolutely loved playing lately. First off, we've got 2 copies of Drampa GX. That Righteous Edge attack can help knock off some special energies at the beginning of the game and punish your opponent for trying to set up a bit too hastily. The Berserk attack is one of the bread and butter attacks of this deck, though, for 3 colorless. Does 80 plus 70 if one of your benched Pokemon is damaged. And then Big Wheel GX for 1 colorless. Shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 10 cards. However, that is one of the GX attack options we have in this deck, which we can only use once per game. Secondly, we play 3 copies of Trubbish from Breakpoint. With that Acid Spray attack, flip a coin. If heads, hey look, you discard an opponent's energy. Seems pretty good. However, the main reason we play Trubbish is to evolve into Garbodor, which we play 2 copies of the Trash Lynch Garbodor and 2 copies of the Garbotoxin Garbodor. The Garbotoxin will block abilities from both sides of the field as long as there's a tool attached to it. And the Trash Lynch Garbodor is a great late game cleanup attacker. Does 20 times the number of items in your opponent's discard pile. Next for attackers, we play 1 copy of Sun and Moon Eevee and 1 copy of Espeon GX. You can use Eevee's Energy Evolution ability to attach a basic Psychic and then search your deck for this Espeon. It does that Psybeam attack for 30 damage, 1 energy, and it confuses your opponent. Can cause a little bit of distraction early on. And then you've got the Psychic attack for 1 Psychic and 2 colorless. Does 60 damage plus 30 for each energy attached to your opponent's active. And then another one of our GX options is Divide GX, where we can spread 10 damage counters any way we want on our opponent's side of the field. Can often be very good after some spread attacks that we're going to go over later. We also play 1 copy of Espeon EX from Breakpoint. For 1 colorless energy, does that Miraculous Shine attack that devolves the entire field. And then if you really have to, Psyshock is an option as well. However, it can't be affected by weakness or resistance, so be very careful with that. We also play 1 copy of the Tapu Koko promo. That double colorless energy lets you use Flying Flip, does 20 damage to all Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field. We're never going to use that second attack because we don't play any energy that provide lightning. However, a 1 prize free retreater that does a good amount of bench damage. Very good card. And then the last Pokemon we play is 3 copies of Tapu Lele GX. Probably the most important card in the game. It lets you, when you play it from your hand, search your deck for any supporter that you want. And then you've got that Energy Drive attack, does 20 times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. And then another GX option that we have is its Tapu Cure GX, where you fully heal 2 of your bench Pokemon. Don't sleep on that option. It's not bad. So for our supporters, we play 4 copies of Professor Sycamore. Discard your hand and draw 7. We play 4 copies of N. Both players shuffle their hands into their decks, and then draw cards based on the number of prize cards they have left. For example, if both players have 6 prizes at the beginning of the game, both players would draw 6. However, if one player has 4 and the other player has 2, then they draw that amount of cards respectively. We play 1 copy of Bridget. It likes living in our prizes, but also, if we can get it out early game, for example the first turn, it lets us grab 3 non-EX Pokemon, which includes GXs, or 1 EX Pokemon. We're typically never going to use the option of taking that EX. However, we can grab like an Eevee, a Trubbish, and a Drampa, a Tapu Koko, an Eevee, and a Drampa, a Trubbish, a Tapu Koko. You get it. We play 4 copies of Guzma. If you remember Lysander from our past formats, it does provide that effect where you switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active. However, you also get to switch one of your bench Pokemon with your active, and you get to choose both actives. Very important card in this deck. It helps us either spread damage by putting something up with a heavy retreat cost, or lets us take knockouts on Pokemon that we want out as soon as possible. Now onto our item cards. We play 4 copies of Ultra Ball. This card is one of the most important cards in the game as well. You discard 2 cards from your hand, and you grab any Pokemon you want from your deck. The typical turn 1 play, Ultra Ball for Tapu Lele for Bridget, to help get your board set up early on, or you can just Ultra Ball for any Pokemon. We play 2 copies of Field Blower. This lets us get rid of those annoying stadiums and tool cards that your opponent has, or you can even get rid of, say, a Floatstone on your own Garbotoxin Garbodor to Tapu Lele for a supporter, and then attach a new Float Stone to block abilities still. We play 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher. This is a two-way street here. You can either grab 1 Pokemon from your discard pile and put it directly into your hand, or you can take 3 Pokemon from your discard pile and shuffle them back into your deck. One of the most important recycle cards in the game. And our only other option is Super Rod, which lets us just shuffle Pokemon and energies. Who needs that? We play 4 copies of Float Stone to give our guys free retreat. Also, easily the most optimal tool to put on that Garbodor for Garbotoxin. And then if we need to move anything, we can just slap one on there as well. However, most of the time we're going to be putting them on Garbodors. We play 3 copies of Choice Band, because being able to do 30 more damage to EXs and GXs is really good. It helps the math out with things like Berserk, Psychic, and Energy Drive, as well as Flying Flip, being able to do 50 to the active and then 20 to the rest of the field, but that only applies for EXs and GXs. Our last trainer cards are 4 copies of Potown, one of the staples of this deck, one of the structural pieces, as I feel. In a format that's very heavy in evolution, like the one that we're currently in, being able to put 3 damage counters on anything that is evolving is very important. Not only to accelerate Drampa's damage with Berserk, but also to be able to chip away at your opponent's Pokemon as well. As for our energies, we play 4 copies of Double Colorless Energy. It's another one of those efficiency cards that lets us speed up what we're doing, since it provides 2 energies at a time, and it can be our 1 attachment per turn. And then we play 8 copies of Basic Psychic Energy, and what that does is it lets all of our guys attack. So I used this deck at the Cup to a top 8 finish in Valparaiso, and that got me 25 championship points. So it's a great deck. I really like it a lot. It is not my favorite deck in the format, but it is very consistent, and that's what I like about it the most. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, keep on splashing.